therapist recently, after listening to my story, said, you know, you went from one big thing to another and you never really had the time or space to process any of it. And I really thought about that, and it makes sense why I've been disassociating, dealing with negative emotions. It's just a lot of that baggage doesn't get dealt with or didn't get dealt with, and it always catches up to you. So even though we're all in the daily grind, we are working, we have the kids to take care of, the home, it's still so important to make time for self-healing, for self-reflection, for dealing with the things that bother us, because they do affect us in our day-to-day life. The way I deal with helping myself heal is I make pockets of time. So I use the time that I do have in the middle of the craziness and the busyness, and I try to choose self-care and self-reflection over whatever else I could be doing. So, for example, if the kids are down and I can sit down and just look at a video or scroll on my phone, I stopped with that and I use that time for meditation or reading or gratitude or something that will help me in the long run. If I'm doing some tasks like the laundry or washing the dishes, I don't just do the tasks now. I try to get into a state of mind where I'm doing some self-reflection, or I will sometimes put on my headphones and listen to a podcast or something on a specific topic that will help me deal with whatever it is I'm dealing with in that moment. And just doing those little things, finding that little bit of time that I have for taking care of myself adds up. And then at the end of the week, you look back and you realize, wow, I did so much for myself, even in those little pockets of time. Anytime you're driving somewhere in the car, you can also use that time to sort of check in with yourself, maybe do some breathing exercises as you're driving, maybe asking yourself some self-reflective questions and seeing if that helps you too. It's just another pocket of time, another 10-15 minutes that can add to your self-healing and personal development. If you can, consider signing up for therapy. So I've been putting this off for so long, thinking it's not going to be effective, it takes too much time, but now I treat that hour a week as that hour is for me. It's me time, it's time that I'm investing into myself, into my own healing, and it has been very effective because the therapist asks me questions that I haven't thought of before and gives me another perspective on the same situations that I've been dealing with. So if you are able to, definitely sign up for therapy and see how it can help you. Make time for self-care. As moms or as just busy women, it can sometimes be very difficult to make time for ourselves because we have all of this going on, all these other things we have to take care of. But self-care is so important. And even if you can't get out to get your nails done every week or whatever, if you can't get out and get a massage regularly, you can create a safe haven and a self-care environment in your own home. So I try to make sure my bath is ready for me with all of my favorite things. I try to make sure my bedroom is clean and ready for me when I want to sit down, cozy up, and read a book. And just think about all of the ways that you can use your space and your environment at home to be inviting for you to do self-care, for you to do some personal development and feel good in that space. You don't always have to get out of the house to practice self-care. When unprocessed trauma starts showing up in your life, whether through frustration, emotional outbursts, or burnout, it's usually a sign that something needs attention. And here are a few ways to manage it, even if time is limited. Number 1 is recognize the triggers. Start by identifying the specific situations or feelings that bring up unresolved trauma. Is it when you're overwhelmed with the kids? Feeling unsupported? Awareness is the first step. Once you recognize a trigger, don't ignore it. Take a mental note and ask yourself, why does this make me feel this way? Recognizing these moments creates opportunities for healing, even when you're in the middle of a busy day. Number 2, Release in small doses. You don't need a big emotional release to process trauma. Small, consistent efforts work too. Take 5-minute breaks. For example, if you feel yourself getting overwhelmed, take a 5-minute break to breathe or step outside. It may seem like nothing, but those 5 minutes add up, and it's time that you put in your self-care, in your well-being. Use this time to ground yourself and let go of the tension that you're holding. Mini reflections. At the end of the day, reflect on one moment that triggered you. Write down how it made you feel and why. This helps in gradually unpacking deeper emotions without feeling pressured to solve everything at once. Number 3, talk it out. Even if you don't have time for therapy, talking things through with a trusted friend or partner can help you process your emotions. Sometimes just hearing yourself say things aloud can make a world of a difference in understanding what's really bothering you. And if you don't feel like talking to anyone but feel like you have a lot of emotions to release, try this tip. Use your phone app and record yourself talking. I remember doing this once when a situation kept popping up. I went in my car late at night, parked not far from home. I took out my phone and acted like it was my therapist. I recorded probably 40 minutes of me just talking. I let it all out. How I felt, how confused I was, how certain people made me feel, how I thought things should have turned out differently. I mean, everything. And to this day, I haven't had an episode where that specific situation bothered me all that much. I let it all out, my phone listened, and it was enough. Set boundaries. Unprocessed trauma often reappears when we overextend ourselves. Learning to say no or setting boundaries, even with loved ones, can help reduce stress and prevent you from falling into old emotional patterns. Even small boundaries like asking for 15 minutes of quiet time when you feel overwhelmed can be very powerful. I'm learning that healing doesn't have to be an all or nothing process. It's more about finding small, intentional moments in the middle of your busy day to reconnect with yourself. Whether it's a few deep breaths, a moment of reflection during daily tasks, or setting boundaries to protect your peace, each step you take matters. You have the power to create space for healing even in the midst of chaos. Remember, it's not about doing it perfectly. It's about showing up for yourself in small ways consistently. As you start to prioritize your own emotional well-being, you'll notice the impact it has on your relationships, on your energy, and on your peace of mind.